If you want to sow a year's worth of food, you're in the right place. Calculating how to grow a year's worth of food isn't always straightforward, so I've given you a rundown of what I use in the description below. Basically what you do is take how many pounds of, say, potatoes that one person would eat per year, and then you work out how much space that's going to take. I've got 2 allotments and a small garden patch, so I know that I need to use that amount of space to grow my food. Roughly about 250 square metres. Do not skimp on room between crops because spacing is fundamental. If you crush in seedlings, you're not going to get such a big harvest, so it's better to have less seedlings correctly spaced, and you can find that information on the back of your seed packet. Overcrowded plants like these strawberries will just not do as well, so it's better to have less but correctly spaced. The best crops to grow a year's worth of food can be divided into 4 categories. Staple crops like potatoes, popcorn, beans. Vegetables like swede, runner beans, and Chinese cabbage. And cabbage. Protein sources like beans, peas, and eggs. Canned foods are a great way to store, and they include tomatoes, berries like strawberries, apples, and remember to subscribe. Healthy starts are fundamental for a good crop. Now, don't get me wrong, you could go and buy them all from a garden centre, but that works out to be expensive. Best way to start off your seeds is from seeds. It's really cost effective. Best way to organise what you sow is looking at the back of the packet. The back of the packet will tell you the dates and times that you're meant to sow and plant out. And you can always write on the label when you're meant to be going out and when you sowed it. When you make your own labels, it's super cheap and you do whatever you like. Different zones are going to have different frost dates, so the best thing to do is count back from your last frost date. So for example, if you're going to have tomatoes that are going to go out, it's best to start them say 6 weeks before your last frost date. You can start squashes 4 weeks before your last frost date, so it's always important to look and adjust to where you are in the world. In London, we're quite warm, so I might be sowing things a lot quicker or a lot sooner than you would be. But if you're down south, you're probably thinking, gosh, she's only going to get her tomatoes out on the 1st of May. Crazy. There's a rule of thumb when sowing seeds, and you want to plant them at least twice their depth. So for example, with big seeds like that, that means they are going quite far down into the soil. Unlike seeds like this all year round, which are much smaller, you must keep seeds really well watered. So we have these seed mats that keep them really nice and warm. And as soon as they've started to germinate, we pop them under the grow lights, which is the perfect environment. Our grow tent has pretty much all of our seeds from January, when we start our seeds, all the way until May and we plant them out. It's very warm in here. It doesn't need to be heated because these lights produce a lot of heat, and our little seedlings grow so well under the lights. Succession sowing is super important. Whatever you're growing, you've got to make sure that you're growing enough of it throughout the year. Things like lettuce, you want to grow basically every 2 weeks. You want to be planting some seeds because you don't want a big load of lettuce because they're no good. But things like onions, garlic, you want them all at the same time. Some seeds like potatoes need to be treated a little bit differently to every other seed. Seed potatoes need to be chitted before you plant them out. Chitted means that it's taken out of its packet and it's laid on the side in a sunny location. This allows the sprouts to start growing. Without chitting them, they'll take a long time to grow. After the potatoes have been chitted, you can plant them out after your first frost date. When seedlings are in the seed tents, they grow really rapidly. This rapid growth can cause them to grow out of their cells, which means that they need to be transplanted. There's 2 ways to tell if your seedlings need to be potted on. Either you can see roots at the bottom of the seed cell, or the cells feel like they're constantly getting dry after watering. All you have to do is gently remove the seeds from the seed cell. You see all of that beautiful root development. And really I should cut off the weakest one, but I can never bring myself to do it. So I just separate them. Then pick a pot that is bigger than the root ball by at least an inch. Use good quality compost. Now this plant will be able to grow on big and strong for planting out. You don't want to leave it in its pot for too long or it can become root bound. Pests are the main issue that you have when growing a year's worth of food. And they can actually strike when you plant it out or when you're just sowing seeds. Mice can devastate your pea seeds. Slugs can demolish seedlings in a matter of days. One of the best ways to control pests is sourdough, and it's cheaper too. Couple of tablespoons of sourdough mixed with water. The yeasty smell will attract snails and slugs from ages around. A bit of homemade dish soap does wonders for black fly. A good prevention for any illness or disease that wants to attack your plants is making sure that they're super healthy, which means making sure you start them in a good quality compost. Give them enough space to grow. Topping up your beds with compost every year. That could be anything from homemade compost that you've made yourself to horse manure. Each is very, very good, and it will flood your beds with tons of nutrients. And mulching heavily. Mulch is really important with things like tomatoes, which are really disease prone, so that the soil doesn't splash up onto the plant, causing diseases. Getting that planned and organised now will set you up for a successful growing season. Cardboard stops light getting through, so it allows a natural way and chemical-free way to stop weeds. But cardboard doesn't make a meal alone, so we're going to have to lay organic matter. This cardboard will break down over winter, suppressing the weeds, giving us a base for anything that we plant in here, probably garlic, we'll be able to get up and establish before the weeds come. With the weeds suppressed, it's now time to put on the organic matter. You can use leaf mulch or compost or well-rotted manure. It's essential. This compost will break down slowly over time and protect the soil. And if you want to learn what it takes to store a year's worth of food, well, I've got a video on that, I'll tag it down below. I just wanted to say thank you so much for 5k. It's amazing to think 5,000 people have hit that subscribe button. 5,000 is one of them numbers that are just surreal. Can you imagine 5,000 people just staring at you? Oh, you licked my mouth. I genuinely never thought that I was going to get to 5,000 subs. Who did? But after 5 years on this platform, it just blows me away. It's always so shocking to me. The fact that anyone but my mum watches, hi mum, staggering. Not even my sister watches, to be honest. After being a school teacher for goodness knows how many years, it staggers me and probably them that anyone wants to listen to me. And then after all of this time, we've made such a wonderful community of future sedders, which honestly have changed my life. I was so lonely without, you know, anyone to talk to about gardening, because in real life I don't really have anyone. I honestly just wanted to say thank you, because without you guys supporting me, there'd be no channel. Well, to celebrate having hit 5k, I wanted to do a question and answer. So if you want to take part, go ahead and stick your comment down below and ask me a question, and I'll be answering them in the next video. And wherever the journey takes us next, thanks for joining me this far.